When World War II finally began to turn in favor of the Allies, millions of American and Allied soldiers had already been fighting for years. They crossed oceans, survived battle after battle, and watched friends fall beside them. By 1945, one big question hung over every army camp, every battlefield, and every soldier's heart. When will I finally go home? The United States had more than 8 million men and women in uniform. They were spread across Europe, Africa, the Pacific Islands, and hundreds of bases around the world. Ending the war did not mean everyone could immediately return home. Ships and aircraft were limited, and the military still needed forces for occupation duties, rebuilding nations and protecting peace. Commanders knew they needed a fair system to decide who would be discharged first. The soldiers demanded fairness. Families back home demanded it too. So the U.S. Army created something unique, something no war had used at this scale before: the World War II Point System, officially known as the Adjusted Service Rating Score. It began in 1945, near the end of the war in Europe, and it became one of the most emotional and important policies of the entire conflict. To understand how the point system worked, imagine being a tired soldier in 1945. You fought across France, survived freezing months in Belgium, and marched into Germany. You haven't seen home in years. Now you hear that the military is introducing a point system. You take out a sheet of paper and start adding up your service. The rules were simple, but the impact was huge. Rule number 1: 1 point for each month of military service. This meant every soldier, from cooks to infantrymen, had their long years of service recognized. If you served for 24 months, you already had 24 points. Rule number 2: 1 extra point for each month of overseas service. If you were posted outside the United States, in Europe, Africa, Asia, or the Pacific, each of those months counted twice. So if you spent 12 months overseas, that was 12 base points plus 12 overseas points equals 24 total points. Rule number 3: each battle star or decoration gave 5 points. This was perhaps the most emotional part. Every soldier who served in a major battle or earned a medal received an additional 5 points for each award. For example, a soldier with 3 battle stars earned 15 extra points. Someone with the Bronze Star medal got 5 more points. A Purple Heart for being wounded added another 5 points. This meant frontline soldiers, those who risked the most, were rewarded by the system. Rule number 4: 12 points for each dependent child, up to 3 children. This rule targeted a very important group: soldiers who were fathers. If a soldier had children at home, he earned 12 points per child, with a maximum of 36 points. This policy acknowledged the emotional and financial strain on families waiting back home. When soldiers finished adding up their months of service, their battles, and their children, they got one number: their point score. This number decided their future. At first, the Army set a high requirement. 85 points were needed to go home. Later, the requirement was lowered to 80 points, and then eventually even lower as more transportation became available. Those with enough points were allowed to return home first. Those who didn't make the cut had to stay in service, often for months or even a year longer. Imagine the emotional impact this had. In camps across Europe, soldiers gathered in groups, pencils in hand, counting their points with nervous hope. Some cheered when they realized they qualified. Others felt heartbreak when they discovered they were just a few points short. In some cases, soldiers were separated from friends because one had enough points to go home while the other didn't. The point system was not perfect, but it was seen as the fairest method available during such a massive demobilization. The biggest winners were older soldiers, fathers, frontline fighters, and those who had served overseas for a long time. Newly arrived troops or soldiers who remained in the U.S. often had to wait longer. But the point system did more than just choose who went home. It changed military culture. For the first time, the idea of fairness was officially written into the discharge process. It acknowledged that some soldiers had carried heavier burdens than others, whether in combat or at home with children waiting. It also prevented chaos. If the U.S. released all its soldiers at once, it would have created a manpower vacuum in newly liberated countries like France, Italy, and Germany. Occupation forces were essential to keep order and prevent new conflicts. The point system ensured the most experienced soldiers stayed long enough to complete these missions, while still rewarding those who had been through the worst. After the war in Europe ended, the system continued in the Pacific. Some soldiers with high points were shipped home immediately, while others were asked to prepare for the possible invasion of Japan. When Japan surrendered in August 1945, the pressure on the system suddenly increased. Everybody wanted to return home as soon as possible. But the military could only move so many people at a time. There were not enough ships, not enough aircraft, and not enough equipment to bring millions home all at once. The point system helped control the process one group at a time. As the months passed, the point requirements dropped steadily. By late 1945 and early 1946, almost everyone who had served for a long time, or who fought in major battles, was on their way home. For many veterans, their point score became a symbol of pride. They talked about it for years. It represented everything they had survived. The cold winters, the sleepless nights, the battles, the fear, and their families waiting at home. Today, historians look back at the World War II point system as a remarkable example of smart planning during a massive global conflict. It balanced fairness, military needs, and emotional realities in a way that protected both soldiers and nations. So, what was the point system in World War II? It was more than numbers. It was a promise that sacrifices would be recognized, that families mattered, and that every soldier would eventually get their turn to go home. It was the military's way of saying, "We see what you did, we honor it, and now, when your score is high enough, you've earned your ticket home."